Well, what should companies be paying attention to when it comes to making location decisions? This month's Eye on Economic Development segment zeroes in on the top 5 hot trends in site selection. National site selection firm KSM Location Advisor CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Cook are back to break down the list, and welcome as always.
Hi, Gary.
As we were talking off camera, as you talk about the trends in site selection, the trends today, I guess, different than maybe they would have been 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's changed a lot since when I came into the business 20 years ago. What was it for you, 1,000 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Thank you.
No problem. But, the trends have changed a whole lot. Technology is part of that, but so has the sophistication of the group and the issues they're focused on.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start some of these trends. And one that some might say surprising, I think it's kind of obvious. You hear a lot about it, these social issues that have really popped up.
Yeah, and I think probably about 10 or so years ago, clients started asking pretty innocuous questions like, okay, well, is there a new governor in that state? Or is the political party, is it the legislature and the executive branch covered by the same party? Just to know if they were going to step into any sort of pitfalls. Mm-hmm. But we can see with Amazon and some of these others that specific social issues are something, sometimes companies have an opinion on them, but more often than not, they just want to be aware if the issue's out there and if it's something from a PR standpoint that they need to be cognizant of through the process.
Yeah, and when we saw the issue here a couple of years ago, and the impact, not only you mix social issues with social media, and the attention that was thrust upon Indiana.
Yeah, and there's an immediacy now that when a social issue comes to the surface, everyone knows about it right away. And as Katie mentioned, that's something that our clients are paying attention to as part of site selection.
Yep, so okay, social issues. Another big issue, obviously, labor availability, unemployment, this whole workforce issue. And I guess Indiana is not unique in that.
We're not unique. I think the key will be how do we tackle that issue. Every state right now has a talent initiative, but what do we do to distinguish ourselves and show that we're helping clients solve that problem? Because with unemployment at 3%, it is an issue with every big city and every state.
Yeah, and is that the key there? As you mentioned, everyone's facing this issue, but how states and regions, localities deal with or seem to be dealing with these issues are going to be key for site selection.
Yeah, how do we partner with communities, with states, with employment groups to solve some of these problems? Because if I'm a company that's going to hire 200 to 250 people over the next 3 to 5 years, will I be able to find the talent that I need over that period of time?
Yeah.
And certainly at different economic cycle turns, there have been markets where, oh gosh, that would be a good city nationally to locate to because they've got labor availability. I mean, nobody has it anywhere. So I think that's why the answer to what specifically are you doing as a state or community to address this issue, having an answer to that question is really important. The deer in headlights stare is not so comforting.
Not good. Number 3 on the list of hot trends in site selection, public transportation and airport accessibility.
This is a huge issue. And, transportation, airport accessibility always has to some degree. I think what has changed is really more the importance on the list. So it's always been a factor of consideration, but it's very prominent now. Companies want to know how many direct flights internationally and domestically that we have, if there's a corporate headquarters in proximity to that. It's not just the niceness of the airport, which we certainly have an amazing one, but kind of the details beneath it. There's good news to celebrate, but there's work to be done too.
Yeah, and Tim, as we were talking off camera, the state's first transcontinental nonstop, the Indy to Paris flight, big news and positive news for Indiana, but pressure is on in a way that this flight be a success, right?
Yes, I mean, when we had the direct flight to San Francisco, had a lot of success with that. That was a big feather in our cap. We have to make sure this flight to Paris is successful because I think if it's not, it will put a spotlight on us whether or not we're able to really expand beyond just, continental flights.
Yeah, and in terms of the public transportation piece, increasingly, you see this as a really important when you talk about public transportation, or the fact that many young people and millennials and those folks don't necessarily want to have a car, right? They want to be able to walk to work or bike to work or take public transit.
Yeah, I mean, like when Katie and I came out of college, we just assumed we were going to drive wherever we were going to work. But nowadays, with people that we're hiring or with our clients that are hiring, it is a big deal. How much trouble is it going to be for me to get from where I live to where I work. And it's a common issue with so many of our clients now.
It's also forced us to become more sophisticated in our data analytics, because our clients now want to know, okay, if they pick Indianapolis as where they want to land, where's the concentration of workers that they want? We really have to drill down to find that, and that is driving a lot of their location decisions in a way it didn't previously. And even issues like congestion, that's even coming into play. So if for-car accessibility, I mean, does the local infrastructure support it? We were working on an assignment recently where Nashville, Tennessee, and Atlanta got taken out of the running because the congestion, the infrastructure just hasn't caught up there yet. And so I think we're pretty good from that standpoint, but something to be mindful of.
You're right. You talk about analytics, number 4 on the list, availability of viable sites. I would assume that's always been an issue, but with data and analytics and so much information out there, probably underscores it.
Well, now all CEO has to do is read one article, and then they can start talking about water lines and, you know, all these complicated. So we have to be on our A game, and so do economic development officials.
Final one on the list, number 5 in the top, or the hot 5, quality of life. And we hear a lot about it, but I guess it's communities and regions and states that are really addressing things that make a difference.
It goes back to this talent attraction issue. And do you have some amenities where you work, where you live, that are going to be appealing? And I think it's always been something that's been important in communities, but nowadays with companies making site selection decisions, I think it's a key thing that they look at.
And not just to one population, right? Not just the millennials or the boomers. It's like you've got to have a quality of life that appeals to a broad spectrum of ages and socioeconomic demographics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Some great information, the 5 hot trends in site selection. Tim Cook and Katie Culp, as always, thanks for joining us with some great perspective.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Well, I'll be right back after this. Stay with us.